In a world with only hot takes,
Two college friends try to cool down sports media.
join Jack and Jared every week as they tackle the biggest stories in the NFL.
And give the reasonable football analysis you won't hear anywhere else.
Welcome to 710 Sports.
Welcome back to episode 19 of 710 Sports with
Jack.
and Jared. Thanks for joining us after week 10 of the NFL season. And oh boy, what a week it was, Jack. Possibly one of the best games of the season, certainly so far, and a lot of really good games in general. How you doing, Jack? What did you think of the week 10?
I'm doing
so
well.
far?
Definitely very exciting. Definitely some very exciting games. Even the primetime game that we've had so far. This is before for reference, this is happening Monday nights before the Monday Night Football game. So during. So do not have takes on that. But the other primetime game, the Sunday night one, I forget the Thursday night one, but the Sunday night one was pretty good, I thought, which is just nice, just a nice change of pace. I feel like there's been a fair amount of subpar matchups there. Thought it was fairly entertaining. I mean, a lot of good games.
Yeah, there was two overtime games in the early, in the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock hour, which we'll talk about both those. And I can't believe you forgot about the Panthers-Falcons matchup on Thursday night.
Oh, yeah.
We will not be talking about that.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
But
again, one thing I'll say, potentially good for the Falcons in the long run, because maybe it means that they'll start, Desmond Riddler. I think they drafted him rather than Marcus Mariota.
Yes.
Potentially losing this game will be enough to put him in, because anyone other than Mariota would probably be good. But that's all.
All
we'll say on that
very
game.
good on Thursday. We'll jump right into. We won't keep you waiting. We're going to jump right into possibly I think so far the best game of the season. We're not sure moving forward. Hopefully, there's a better game than this. But
You always hope.
Vikings go to Buffalo and they win in overtime in the 1 o'clock hour, 33-30. I'm going to do a quick, basically bring us into the fourth quarter and go through that whole sequence of events. Then I'm going to pass to you, Jack, to see what your thoughts are on the Vikings winning here. And so just to put everybody in the zone here, if you haven't seen the highlights, first of all, go watch them. But the abridged version here is that we're in the fourth quarter. The Bills are up 27-17, and they have the ball. They're driving. They get to the red zone, and Josh Allen scrambles. It's 4th and 2. He's got to make something happen. They don't go for the field goal here. They're down. They're up 10. Field goal will put them up 13. They say, we're going to go 4th and 2 from the 5-yard line. Josh Allen scrambles, throws a pick to Peterson in the end zone, right? So that's the first that's the first start of the end here for the Bills. Vikings go down, score a TD. This is middle of the fourth quarter. They score a TD with 4 or 5 minutes left, I think. They kick off to the Bills. The Bills basically stall out and have to punt to the Vikings. The Vikings are now down 3. It's 24-27. The Vikings go all the way down with roughly 2 minutes left. They're on the goal line. And on fourth down, they basically they're at 4th and goal from the half-yard line. Kirk Cousins goes for the QB sneak. Kirko Chain's trying to go in, and he falls short. They called it on the field, and it was conclusive, at least from my eyes on the replay, that he was just short. I mean, I'm talking, this much short.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think there was just a penalty too, so it was they were on the half yard, and then it was a half the distance to the goal. So they must have been 3 inches away, sort of thing. They were inches
right there.
away.
And but Buffalo made this defensive stop, and I think actually they were down by 4. That's why they were going for the TD, because they missed the extra point. So it was it would have been 23-27. That's why they were going for the TD. But, So they're down 4. They need the TD. They don't get it on fourth down, all the way at the quarter-yard line, and then. But here it is. It's 2 minutes left, and Josh Allen has to come out and victory kneel this out, but he can't because it's on the
quarter-yard line. Yeah,
exactly. So basically, he can't kneel. So they've got to run the ball. They decide to go QB sneak with Josh Allen, and he doesn't even get the chance to sneak because he fumbles the center to QB exchange. Yeah. He fumbles it, and then Vikings recover in the end zone anyway. So they score the TD. They go up 3 with less than a minute left.
Yeah.
And then basically the Buffalo goes down, gets in field goal range, kicks the field goal. We go into overtime. Once again, Buffalo, the coin toss. Josh Allen's having PTSD. The Vikings win the coin toss. They get the ball. They go down. They drive down, but they can't score a touchdown, so they kick the field goal. Now Josh Allen just needs to score a TD to win, a field goal to tie to give it back to the Vikings. And he gets all the way to the red zone, mostly with his legs, with a couple of big runs. And then once again in the red zone, he throws towards the end zone. This one considerably worse. Peterson picks him off again, cuts the route. Excellent play by Peterson, basically anticipating, the route, understanding, based off of the how the formation was lined up. He knew that it was going to be basically a deep curl, and he picks that right off, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
And so with all that, what do you think about the Vikings coming back from down 10 in the fourth quarter and winning this game, Jack?
I mean, a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, I think the biggest thought was, the most impressive thing. I wish I got this off while you were drinking your water. Most impressive thing of this game is that not only did they beat the Bills, right, a team we've all been saying is top 3, but it was a 2-on-1 game that the Vikings had to play against the Bills and the refs during this game.
Jeez.
and still were able to come away with, you can't stop the coin toss. Very hard to rig a coin toss. No, but that aside, definitely for a lot of that, some subpar calls or choices to review. Obviously, the Gabe Davis catch was definitely a contentious point, especially because it wasn't like he got out of bounds. Like it wasn't like a thing. Oh, like they're in true 2-minute drill mode. That's hard to say. True 2-minute drill mode. Balls and bounds. They got to keep going. Don't have time to you don't want to interrupt the flow of the game. It wasn't even like that. They got out of bounds. The clock was stopped. So they
could have stopped it.
Yeah. The fact that was, and I know it's hard for wherever the ref was standing, I know was hard to see, but I could see, but if you had the other angle, you could see the ball move. Like on camera, it was very easy to see. Obviously it's slowed down, so on. So it is harder for a ref, but the fact that the skybox didn't stop that, weird. On that QB, something I heard, this one I don't know. The other thing I'm about to say I do know. The QB sneak, I saw people saying that half the Bills were lined up off sides on that QB sneak, or lined up in the neutral zone. Something, I forget the exact difference, but was something like that. There was a missed call there. I heard people saying what was definitely missed was on one of the runs. It may have been in overtime, but on one of the runs, one of these goal line runs, right? Because the Vikings got stopped on, because they got stopped in overtime, had to kick a field goal, got stopped on that 2-minute drill we were just talking about where they failed to sneak. On one of the runs to Dalvin Cook, the Bills straight up had 12 men on the field. Like they had 11 men in the box, 11 men in the box, one dude covering the outside wide receiver. Like they straight up had 12. Not like a dude, just straight up. And no one noticed. And after you see the photos and you see count the players, but at that point plays it wasn't noticed in the moment. The cast didn't get it either. Whoever was calling the game didn't get it. It was just I saw this after the fact, but that was very interesting. So a lot of the refereeing, I know you had said to me that they've been holding Justin Jefferson all night, but he still can't be stopped. But refereeing aside, Vikings win. I think it's a very good win. The one thing I will highlight, and then I'll let you talk because I've been talking for a bit, is a lot of the talk's been about Josh Allen, and it should be, because the team does kind of live or die by him, right? It does, there is all that. But at the same time, 30 points, I think that's whatever, 30 points, I think it was in overtime.
33-30 was the final score.
Yeah, that 30, an offense scoring 30 points is pretty good. And I think for in one of these cases where they were up, I think they were up 27-10, or they were at least up 24-10 at the half. At a point, there's something on the Bills defense, right? There's that stat that we saw. What was it? The Bills, they showed that on the cast. The Bills are 2-8, I think, in games in the past 2 years decided by less than one score, or by less than 8 points. That's what it was. 2-8. I don't know. It's hard for me to purely put this on Josh Allen when the defense gives up 33 points. Like, I think Von Miller played very well. They got a lot of good picks on Kirk Cousins. Like, I'm not like attacking. Like all I'm trying to say is I don't think it should solely be, all the talk for everything should be about Josh Allen. That's all. One interesting.
Yeah, I agree that we shouldn't solely be talking about Josh Allen. So I'm going to first start with the Vikings, and I want to highlight Justin Jefferson because there was so much in this game that, I gave the breakdown of the play-by-play, but Justin Jefferson on that final drive where they needed a TD when they're down 4, on 4th down, Justin Jefferson makes the best catch of the season as well, to be paired with it's on 4th and 10 or something.
It's one of the best catches of our lives, potentially.
It's a jump ball. The defender basically has 2 hands on it. He's behind Jefferson. Jefferson jumps up and gets 1 hand on it and brings it down with, basically they bring it down 3 hands
takes it out of the DB's hand.
And he takes it out of his hand with 1 hand as he's coming to the ground, keeps possession, and basically saves the game on 4th down. Otherwise, that game doesn't even continue going. Yeah. 4th and 18. The game doesn't even keep going if this catch isn't made. But forget about that. Justin Jefferson was killing them the entire game, 193 yards, I believe. 10 catches, something crazy. He was getting doubled. He was breaking coverages, and as you said, I mean, they were letting him play, and I was getting upset because they started calling some ticky-tacky PI calls late. Because Jefferson was getting held downfield. He's getting his jerseys is getting pulled and stuff like that, and they were letting him play. They were letting him play through it, and he was still dominating them. And so I just got to shout out. He is the best player on that team, and Kirk Cousins is essentially throwing it at him, and he's back shoulder, up in the air, down low, whatever you need. He's going and getting the ball. He's finding it. And so it's unbelievable. Do I believe in the Vikings? Not really. But do I now on the Bills side? No, I don't. I mean, I'm sorry, but I the fact
only loss to the Eagles. Only loss has been to the Eagles, by the way.
Yeah, but a lot of these games have been close, and yes, they're winning the close ones.
Yes.
But some of them
at some point,
close, right? And you know what I mean?
No.
So
you can only win a coin toss so many times, It's
and you could. I mean, of course, I think Josh Allen is the majority to blame here because he's going to get the majority of the credit when they win because he's so good, and he played. If you take away the massive mistakes, he played really, really good. He really did. And when the Vikings kicked that field goal in OT, the only thing I'm thinking is, game's already over.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's going to get the ball and drive down there and score a TD, and instead he gets reckless, right? He gets reckless, and he's throwing this pass in a tight coverage, and I mean, it's a great play by Peterson for sure. But the only other thing I want to say about this game, and Josh Allen specifically, is I think it's really interesting how he's supposedly injured, and I'm going to just take it as it is that he has some sort of injury, right? They weren't sure if he was going to play. They weren't really saying it intentionally. I'm fine with that. Whatever. It's gamesmanship, whatever. He's got a possibly hurt elbow. Doesn't seem anything serious, but, in theory, it could be worse. And he's out there running and trucking guys and throwing He's throwing picks and going after tackles, full on leaping, lunging, tackling.
He was
guys.
On the ground.
He was on the ground hurt because he's already hurt, and he's throwing literally his hurt elbow directly into a guy for the tackle. Now he did just throw the pick, so it's well, at least he's going after it, and that's the thing. This.
It's good
what
chutzpah,
I think is, right. What I think is interesting about this is that if he's playing injured and he keeps playing like this and he keeps being totally fine and he's able to play and he's able to play through it and he plays good enough, we're all going to say, wow, Josh Allen, he's just gritty, man. He's a real football player. He'll fight through injury, just like the good old days in the 70s when they didn't remember their name and they would go out there and play.
When Terry Bradshaw didn't even know who he was and was going out there.
Josh Allen, he's that's why he's better than anyone else, because he will still truck a guy and while he's injured, right? But if he gets injured worse, and God forbid, now he breaks his elbow or something to the point where he can't play, and the season's essentially over, then who do we point the fingers at? Because it's, all of a sudden it's not going to be, we love Josh Allen for doing this. We're going to say,
you already know
what
it's
is
the
Josh
coaches.
Allen doing? 100%. It's going to be the coaches.
It's going to be,
it's
what are they
100%
letting
gonna
him
be the
do?
coaches.
Oh no, they're what are they letting what are they doing to Josh Allen?
Why would they?
My
why
God.
would they let him play? Why? Would,
exactly.
And truthfully, why are they letting him play? If you can't control him, if he's going to, if he says, Coach, I don't care if I got a concussion, if I got a broken elbow, I am going to not slide. I'm not even going to slide. I refuse to slide. I will continue to truck guys. Why would you play him? Because he's just going to get more hurt. Now, this might not come to fruition, and I hope it doesn't, but people won't be upset until he actually gets hurt. Everyone's going to say, this is great. And then suddenly it's going to flip, and it's going to be Sean McDermott's fault. And when in reality, it's Allen being reckless.
Playing
reckless.
That's
how he plays.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Yeah. Do I have anything? Don't think I really have anything else about this game. I guess, yeah. The one other thing about the refereeing stuff that it's funny that this game, the bad calls, whatever, is just 1 week after last week, week 9, the referee in the Vikings Commanders game, like setting a pick on the defensive back who was going to go get an interception, setting a pick so the dude runs into the ref and then can't intercept it. But yeah, that was my one other note in that game, other than Von Miller still continuing to make big impact plays. I think the play before that 4th and 18 crazy catch, I believe, was a big Von Miller sack. I believe
he does it.
Yeah.
He does it every week. So I understand that, like, if this Bills defense is supposed to be really good and they give up 30 points, I agree with you. But
a lot of injuries.
I mean, Von Miller's. I mean, he's electric.
Yeah, he's playing great. But yeah, well, that's a lot on that. I mean,
We'll jump into the the next couple of games here. Let's go to the bane of my existence.
Oh, you'll have to talk more. I watched this, but I didn't see the end, so you'll have to fill me in a bit on the end. Yeah, and not fill me, but I know a bit of it.
We'll do the Cowboys loss in overtime to the Packers in the 4:25 hour America's Game of the Week. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I think as a Cowboys fan, unfortunately, I had gained a little bit of hope through the season. I had said to myself, hey, our defense is really, really good. Dak's coming back. He looks good. But, we're just playing against the Bears and the Lions, right? And so, and this is the Packers. We're 2-8 now, 2-9 in the last 11 against the Packers. We can't beat the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, has ever lost to the Cowboys. It's just an awful thing. And I should have known it. Instead, they're up 14 in the fourth quarter. Essentially, the breakdown is Cowboys are up 28-14 in the fourth quarter, and they give up 14 points late. They can't score anything. Aaron Rodgers marches down the field twice. They tie it. The Cowboys get the ball with 2 minutes left for a 2-minute drill, and Dak cannot get anything. It's basically that's 3 and out. Aaron Rodgers gets the ball with like a minute left. He can't do anything. They punt, and then we go to OT. Dallas gets the ball first in OT. They drive to midfield, and this is really when we get to see
I think
peak Cowboys in overtime when the game is on the line. They need a TD to win, and they just start committing stupid penalties. And this was the entire game. And this is my analysis for the game, which is what I've been saying since we started this podcast. And I've been saying it, for a year before. You know this, Jack. This team is undisciplined and unprepared. Okay. And it shows every single week, but most often in these super important games. The two picks, the 2 picks, one was clearly not Dak's fault, and the announcers, I think maybe it was Herb Street, I don't know, whoever was on the call. No, I think it was Greg Olson. He's saying
I think it was, yes,
both times the receivers essentially are not running the right routes. Like CeeDee Lamb or Schultz is supposed to basically bring a safety and clear a safety so CeeDee Lamb can have something underneath. And he basically runs the same route as CeeDee Lamb so that all the defenders are in the same place. Now, that's the first one. And that's on Dak, I still think, because Dak should be able to see why are there 4 guys running this route? Like they're all right in the. But maybe it happens so fast that he can't. Right. The second one for sure. Basically, CeeDee Lamb is supposed to basically run a deep square in, and instead he runs like a deep slant out, and it's super clear when you watch the replay. He's supposed to cross in front of the safety, and if he did, he would have gotten the reception because that's exactly where Dak threw it.
Yeah.
Instead, he went over the safety, and so Dak threw it directly to the safety, and it's just stuff like that where it's like. Now, there's a lot of people at fault there, but why don't we have this figured out? Unprepared. Okay. That's just in the middle of the game. This is the stuff that we do. Yeah. Then we get to the
that's
very
just people not
end.
running right routes. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we get to the very end and it's a penalty. It was a motion. Some some bench wide receiver is in. He motions from right to left. And when he goes to get back into his stance, he gets set a yard over the line of scrimmage.
Ooh, you hate to see those.
He lines up off sides, and there's literally a camera shot of him looking down a line, being like, I lined up a yard over. Hey, what are we doing? And then some other stuff that was a little bit frustrating, like ticky tacky holding. The way I see it, I don't understand the holding penalties in the league. I feel like holding happens on every single play, and they call it when when it's egregious, when they feel see it for sure.
I think they should just get rid of the not all holding, but like any. I think the only penalty on offensive or defensive line post snap, so I'm not counting false starts. I think the only penalty there between the linemen should be hands to the face. I don't think there should be holding. The offensive line wants to hold, go ahead. But I think if defensive linemen want to do whatever, I'm not really sure. There's not really stuff penalized. But I feel like defensive linemen have a bit of an advantage anyway. In a sense, so that's why offensive linemen do hold, even though it's a penalty. That's why, like you said, it's you see it on every play, because if they weren't holding on every play, there'd be 20 sacks a game.
We get rid of holding penalties and we get rid of roughing the passer. That's the answer. Yeah. We get rid of roughing the passer so these guys can basically get to the quarterback.
Yeah, they can actually sack the quarterback. and when they do, it's not reversed and all sorts of crazy stuff. But in return, no holding penalties, so O-lineman can hold.
Right.
But
so sorry to get back a little bit on track here.
Yeah.
Essentially,
I was thinking about that.
They end up gaining yards and getting pushed back and gaining yards, and they end up in this 50 to 40 yard line somewhere around there, and it's 3rd and 4 something, 3rd and 5. They run a slant route, and CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, I think in most people's opinion, is clearly pass interfered with. He's got the defender has two hands on him, behind and front, kind of holding his arm. But it's kind of close. It was fast. And so they let him play. And I'm like, okay, you just called holding and backed us up 10 yards. But okay. And obviously Mike McCarthy's upset about this. And then they decide, okay, it was going to be a 55-yard field goal or something, completely makeable. They're going to go for it. They're going to win the game here. Questionable call. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. But either way, they go for it. They don't get it. Basically, Dak gets collapsed in the pocket. He tries to scramble out. He can't get anything there. And Mike McCarthy proceeds they show him on TV multiple times, taking the headset off and spiking it into the ground. Mind you, this game is not over. But Mike McCarthy's already taken his headset and smashed it on the ground. They've switched sides. The defense has gone out there, and Mike McCarthy doesn't even have a headset. They're showing him trying to get wired up. The tech guy's like, dude, we still got the game left. Mike McCarthy's trying to talk to him like, hey, come on, man, I just spiked my headset. It's like
he's already gone. Mike McCarthy's already halfway to the nearest Applebee's at that point.
This is what I'm talking about. Sponsored. Even coaching. Like, what does that tell your entire sideline?
Yeah.
When you just say, you know what, F it, I'm going to spike the whole headset. What are we doing? The game's not over. You can still, I know it's over. It's over because they just need a field goal and that's what they go get. But can we have some composure till at least the end of the game? Spike the headset at the end.
Spike it at the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Brady style.
Right, exactly. So This
with the
is just
tablets.
classic Cowboys, and that's my But everyone already knows who's been
Oh.
watching the podcast or knows me. This is what happened to get the Packers to have the get right game against the. Come on, man!
Against the 5-game losing streak, they rush. Foreboding sign for the Cowboys. You had the Packers rush while they're making a comeback as well. They rush for over 200 yards. And I'd heard that, like, I saw there's a YouTube video, Brett Coleman, I think. I saw somewhere something about an analysis of the Packers, like an analysis of certain things where they did better in that Bills game. And where they did better in the Bills game was they started relying more on rushing, because that's some of the best players they have are their running backs. Is Aaron Jones, absolutely. And like rely on him and do that. And the reason it didn't work there was whole analysis. But it's interesting to see them continue for the Packers' sake. I think it's an interesting note for the Packers. Aaron Rodgers is much more locked in this game. I don't think he threw any picks. Christian Watson had 3 touchdown receptions, a ton of running. For the Packers, pretty good. And stopping the Cowboys when it matters, right? So on those fourth downs. But yeah.
I talked a lot about the Cowboys. I love that you got to give the Packers a little bit of credit here, because they.
Let's give a second. I wanted to, give a second on the Packers, just because. I mean, hey,
100%.
That's my number 1 quarterback. If anyone remembers my quarterback rankings.
Hey, we won't
anyway.
forget, man. I mean, it's hey, he could bring it back. But
anyway, here we go. Colts and Jeff Saturday beat the Raiders 25-19. This is Jeff Saturday. The notebook's coming up. No, Jeff Saturday a couple weeks before this tweeted out something like, "The Raiders just suck," back when he was just an ESPN analyst. So funny for him to then go on to beat them. Highlight of this game gotta be Matt Ryan getting a career long run, the longest run of his career, 39 yards, 39-yard run. For a dude who's like 37, I think he's 37, gets the longest run of his career at 37.
That's a yard for every year, man.
I was thinking that. That's a feel good story. Hey, and the fact that he's out there tells you something. I was thinking this. Fact that he's out there. This is my biggest takeaway from this game. I didn't even look at the score, other than Raiders, continuing to be whatever. But biggest takeaway, they are not tanking. If they were tanking, Matt Ryan would not be out there. Matt Ryan would not be out there getting the longest run of his career. On a random Sunday, right? I think they would be starting Sam Ehlinger or something, like they were going to do when Frank Reich was coach earlier. The fact that Matt Ryan's starting I thought they said he wasn't going to be starting again later this year anyway. I thought they said that. So it's just interesting for him to be back out there. Is an interesting note. Nice pickup, even though it's against one of the worst teams in the league. Colts record. What's the Colts? Are the Colts in the playoff race?
They're 4-5-1.
4-5-1. Hey, in that division, who the Titans play the Packers, who might be on the rebound potentially on Thursday this week. That could, Ooh.
But this is why this never made any sense.
They could make the playoffs. They could make the playoffs.
They were 3-3-1 in that division when they benched Matt Ryan. And why?
Yeah, I know.
Why did they bring him back in? None of this makes any sense, because the only reasonable thing was that they were tanking. We talked about that last week. No. And now they bring Matt Ryan back in? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Hey, didn't he play pretty well?
Yeah, if you look at statistics, he had a lot of passing yards when he was playing. He also had the most interceptions. He had the most sacks.
He was getting
sacked, fumbles.
But
hey. Listen, I don't understand it.
Colts for the playoffs?
When they benched Matt Ryan, it was being made pretty clear in the media and from sources that Irsay was having he was very involved in the decision making, right? And so the only way that this makes sense is that Frank Reich had decided, I'm done with Matt Ryan. I'm putting in Ellinger or whatever. I'm putting in the kid. And basically Irsay was like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to fire Frank Reich. But Irsay's been involved. He's been involved and supposedly like he wanted Sam Ehlinger. Now all of a sudden Saturday comes in and they want to put back Matt Ryan. Why would he's giving more credibility to Jeff Saturday than he was Frank Reich?
Chaos is a ladder, Jared. Chaos is a ladder for Jeff Saturday to climb. That's a Game of Thrones reference for those out there.
Hey, listen,
not sponsored.
I think that I do want to say, like, we
try to hate on them even after they win, Jared. Come on,
no, I
give
am
us
going
the
to.
hate takes.
I am going to because basically, if you look across all of sports media, no, like, if anyone from sports media is watching us, thank you. If you look across all of sports media, everybody said that this was a ridiculous hire. Some people are on TV, like Cower.
Cower was he went a bit
it's
far.
A disgrace.
I think that was toxic. That went too far. I can say it's dumb, it's tanking, whatever. Especially when it's just you and I, Joe Blows. I think for him to go out there on national television and say that, I don't know.
I agree. It was a little much
to go further than us and to a bigger audience.
But we never touched the two kind of important things. Was that you basically this hire essentially jumps other more qualified candidates.
Yes,
it once again is kind of puts it right in the face of everybody watching the NFL when we know we have a minority coach issue, that we are hiring a guy with no experience when there are people who are qualified no matter what their race are. And we're hiring this guy.
Who was in there? Like, what's weird is I have to assume, I hope not, have to assume I'm being real generous. I think it's Reggie White. Is that who was in? I think he's in the Colts organization. Is it? Am I thinking the right person?
Oh, the wide receiver coach.
Yeah, the wide receiver. Yeah. Who is that? Who am I thinking? Or who am I thinking?
I don't know what his name is, but I don't think he's been coaching that long.
Oh, is he not? Yeah, but I know he's a former player who I thought, like, when I saw his name, I was like, oh yeah, why isn't he coaching? Either way,
to be fair, you're right. He
Reggie Wayne.
Reggie Wayne. He was there when Jeff Saturday was there. So and he was already in the building and was coaching. People saying like, oh, and basically my point about all this is that everybody is sort of on the same page about this. There is one guy in sports media right now who I really do, who is all over this, who loves this coach hire. No, I'm not going to say his name.
Nick Wright.
No,
don't
it's
tell
not.
me.
Oh, do you not know?
Okay, good.
It's who it is. It's the Indianapolis guy. There's only one.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know. I know.
He loves this hire. He loves this hire, and he's gone as far to say that this is going.
If he loves it, then I love it. No.
Yeah, he's gone as far to say that this is going to be good for minority hires because it basically it's like, oh well.
Honestly, Jared. Honestly, I don't know if I agree, but what I'll say is right. Saying I agree is a bold statement. What I'll say is there are more minority players than coaches, right? That I could see hypothetically, right? If we're being hopeful, if we're all being hopeful, hopefully that would mean if more players or more ex-players are being hired, you would hope that would mean more of them would be minority. That's what you'd hope. Whether that actually happens or this only happens for the white ex-players, that's its own, like the execution of it, so to speak. Whether whether it actually helps or not, I don't know. But I could see there being an argument saying something to the effect of more ex-players are minorities. So if ex-players are more likely are going to start going directly to head coaching positions, then hypothetically, the pool of ex-players is more minority. Hypothetically, more minorities would go in that pipeline.
This could be
that
true.
May not happen,
this could be true if people are if owners and GMs are comfortable hiring people with no experience. Right. But here's the thing. That's not the problem. Like, you're right. If they're going to hire people with no experience, but it's the idea that there are plenty of experienced guys, including coaches who happen to be minorities, who are being passed up for whatever reason, while this guy with no experience gets the job. Now, yes, you're right. There are, this could open things up, and that's what this guy is saying in Indianapolis. And if he's right, I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for the league that Jeff Saturday and hiring guys with no experience is the answer. But I think if you suddenly were hiring a bunch of minority head coaches who had no experience, wouldn't you be a little bit suspect of that too? Because you'd basically be saying we're hiring a bunch of minority coaches with no experience, which means what? They're probably going to do poorly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, legitimately, right? Now,
you're
I
right.
don't know. Listen, Jeff Saturday, I still think it's a terrible hire. Now, he could go on and continue to win, but you got to point out, like we said, that Matt Ryan was put in. So that completely changes everything. Maybe they're not tanking like you said. I'm just confused by the whole thing. I'd like to end this segment by saying Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders.
Don't. I don't want to talk about the Raiders.
Please fire McDaniels and
because
make Jack and I the head coach. Please. This. We will be co-head coaches for the first time in NFL history. Okay, we'll be co-interim. No experience, Jack and I. But guess what? That worked for Jeff.
You don't need
Saturday.
it.
We don't need it. You know what? And
no, you know what will happen? Because then the owner of the Raiders has to be paying 3 coaches. He has to pay Gruden still for Lord knows how long. He has to pay McDaniels, and
he pays
then it
us.
has to be paying us.
We'll go
obviously
at a discount,
lower rates.
We'll go discount.
Obviously discount for
We'll
us.
be cheaper than either of them, and we'll split it, right? And we'll go coach them. And I don't know. I mean, just come on. I mean, that doesn't help the minority issue, head coaching minority issue at all.
One thing that's relevant here on the topic of minority coaching, on the topic of this coaching stuff. I'm saying this now because it's a prediction. I don't think I'll ever get it's unlikely to ever come up again. Maybe it would. The Patriots. The fact, for one thing, it's crazy. The whole they have no offensive or defensive coordinator. First of all, that's crazy. Other crazy thing is I'm somewhat worried from that sort of nepotism, from that not hiring minority coaches, that they're gonna gloss over Gerard Mayo, who has been the linebacker, right? Great Patriot, Super Bowl champion, who's been the inside linebackers coach since 2019. I could easily see them glossing over him for who else but Steve Belichick. That wacky Steve Belichick is like he is on an equal footing with I don't even think Steve Belichick has that much coaching experience, but let alone playing experience. Like, draw me a perfect guy. Why isn't he the defensive coordinator? I mean, unless he doesn't want to be, unless he doesn't think he's ready, and that's definitely possible. But that's one position. My prediction is that at some point in the next, say, 2 years, they're going to have to name a defensive coordinator, and it will be Steve or shift Matt Patricia to defensive coordinator. Or they're going to do something. Right. Obviously, Matt Patricia, defense guy, but still, they're going to do something like that other than continue developing Gerard Mayo. And that's my worry. But
yeah, right. Listen,
yeah, there you go. Just it was
they'll
relatively on
hire
topic. I wanted
ESPN
to say it.
Pundit. They'll probably Gronk will be the defensive coordinator. That'll make a lot of sense.
But there you go. A lot on that. Do we talk about the 49ers?
Yeah, we can briefly talk. I don't have much on the 49ers, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't have too much either.
Do you got anything about the Sunday night game? They basically hold off the Chargers. Go ahead, Jack.
They hold off the Chargers. Chargers are down a lot of players. It's hard to say whatever. I still think if Justin Herbert's that guy, I would still hope he would do it. But at the same time, right, he's down. I saw someone had the comment. He's down like wide receiver 1, tight end 1 and 2, both starting tackles, wide receiver 3 and 4. Like, he's got his wide receiver 2, that's it, sort of thing. Down, maybe he's down running. No, I think Austin Eckler wasn't. But like, I could see that argument. I don't know if the Bosa is playing or I feel like someone else on the defense is out. Bosa was not playing. Like, so I definitely see they have a ton. It's hard. Yeah. He's also not been playing super well, but I can see the argument because I think it's true. No, how do I say? I think the Chargers. I think there's so many injuries. I think coaching's an issue. I think there's so many injuries an issue. I don't know. I think it's tough. I am a Herbert hater, but I got to admit he's down a lot of players. Like, and Herbert hater might be a strong word, but like there's a lot of injuries in that team. I would still hope for him to do more with the way people talk about him. I would still hope for more, but that's a hard game when you have that many players injured. Better luck next year, Chargers. That like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Good enough for 49ers though. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Like, decent win for them.
I think it's crazy that the media just loves the 49ers. They are just infatuated with the 49ers. Yeah. And it's just like, it was like this last
Chargers
year.
were winning this game, right? They were winning at half, if I remember.
Yeah, 100%. Chargers could have won this game if they could just put a last-second drive together. They had 2 opportunities to do so, and they couldn't. But yeah, they're down all these guys, and the 49ers are barely beating them with all those weapons. I don't believe in the 49ers. They're a playoff team, probably.
Yeah, I think they're a playoff team, but I agree. It's like, I would be surprised, even with the loss, I'd be very surprised if the Seahawks lose that division as from what I've seen so far this season. I'd be incredibly surprised. But either way, we got a schoolyard pick segment here coming up, right?
Yes.
This is your You were excited about this.
Yeah, I'm excited about the schoolyard pick. We're going to do the biggest pet peeves as an NFL fan. So, like, our most frustrating things being an NFL fan, either with the NFL, with teams, with players, with the fans. What frustrates us about being an NFL fan, essentially. And so we go back and forth, just like we're out on the schoolyard. You're going to start first. And so you got the first pick in the schoolyard pick.
I get the first.
I'll go,
and that's big. And for something like this, that's big because there are a lot of things to take. There are a lot of things to take. Where your biggest pet peeve, I am going to go with, and I'm taking this because I don't think you're going to take it. I mean, no, because I think you might take it. I'm going to go with prevent defense. I got to go with prevent defense. Every time, my dad was saying it too, and he hasn't been watching football that much until recently. Prevent defense, you put it out, it's the prevent winning defense. You run this, it's sure. If there's 15 seconds left, I mean, even though I say that, that's why the Bills lost in the AFC the divisional round.
Yeah.
But still, I can understand in that situation. Maybe you hope you put everyone back. It's only a Hail Mary. Of course, you play prevent defense, right? Of course, sure. But in some of these things where okay, there's the Bills have a minute left, about a minute 50 something seconds left, 40 seconds left. That's a lot of time, especially for a team that can march down the field. Why would you let them get 8 yards for free every play? They just let the tight end get out. He goes out 8 yards, catches it, instantly steps out of bounds, and you're not even defending it. You're not even defending it. It's that. I mean, you just give up so much. And when it's cases of field goal, when it's a field goal differential, playing again with touchdown differential, if you want to play that until you get to a bend don't break, and then when you get to the red zone, toughen up. Maybe I still don't like it. I still feel like you're just giving up field position for the hope of not giving up the big play. Just play, if you want, play 3 deep safeties. Yeah. Play trap. If you're that worried, play 3 deep safeties. Whether it's a cover 3 or whether you just only rush, you just do a 3-man rush. But play man coverage. So these guys don't get 8-10 yards for free every play.
If in the most important time of the game, you switch to prevent because that's the answer. Why weren't you playing prevent before?
Yes.
Why not? Because it's not. It's basically you hedging. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's my number 1 pick.
I didn't even have it on my list, even though we talked about it yesterday.
I
missed it, but
ooh.
I'm gonna go with actually on a interaction by interaction basis. My biggest pet peeve has to be bandwagon fans. Okay. Now I'm not talking about I kind of follow football and the Bills are good all of a sudden and or the Chiefs are good or hey, I really like Lamar Jackson, I really like Josh Allen, so I'm kind of rooting for. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about people who are football fans and who assume the fandom of the winning team and act like they've been with the wagon the whole time. You know what I mean? The people who are like, "Oh my God,
exactly what you mean.
I'm the biggest Bills fan. They are so good.
I've seen
love
so
Josh
many Bills
Allen.
fans out there now.
I mean, Cowboys suck. They're the worst team. When was the last time they even went to a championship? Yes, they do suck. But I've been with them my entire life.
You've been with them.
Yeah. All right. I've been riding that train.
You're ride or die.
Right.
Yeah.
You just got out. You used to be a Cowboys fan. Now you root for Buffalo. When we grew up, you were a Cowboys fan. And I love you to death.
Then you were a Patriots fan until 2018. And then you became a Chiefs fan for a year or two. Now you're a Bills fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And listen.
I know what you mean.
I mean no ill will.
Listen.
But it's just come on, you jumped on, right? I mean,
if you're gonna jump on, exactly. You got to be conscious of it. If you're gonna jump on, you got to have that level of humility, and you got to say to yourself, I can't, if you're one of those dudes up in Buffalo jumping through tables, I do not say that in a bad way. But I mean, no negative connotations to that.
Right.
But like, if you're one of those dudes, then yeah, you're ride or die Bills. You've been with the Bills since they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. You know,
Right.
you're with it. But if you're
That's
like a
different.
new Bills fan, like I've been following them a bit more in the past couple of years. Just just whatever, they've been a good team. I'm from the Northeast. The Patriots always play them, so I see them more. Like I often get their games more often. So I've been following them a bit more, but I would never try to go out there and say I'm a Bills fan, but like more importantly, like act with any sort of, bravado. I don't know the word.
Exactly.
I'd have my humility. Even if I were to shift more to that and enough to call myself a fan, I wouldn't. Definitely not. But even if I were, I would keep that humility, right?
Right.
But yeah. Yeah, I mean, other than that, so I guess it's my pick now. Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Well, you're gonna give me a freebie. I have 2 that I want to talk about more, so I'm gonna skip the freebie. The freebie. Can I say the freebie? I guess I shouldn't give you it, but
No,
I'm
I
gonna
have
skip
a
it.
freebie too that I think we both passed up on. So, but you go ahead.
Yeah.
Whatever you're gonna do.
I'm gonna skip it because I think it's more interesting. Kickoffs. Don't like kickoffs. Kickoffs. We talked about this so much last year when we were living together, right? I mean, it's every no matter what happens, almost anything that happens, there's injuries happen. Tons of injuries on kickoffs. So often you see, it's often not the star players, it's some special teams player, but still injuries on the play. Or you go holding 7, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the kick, first down. Those or blocking the back. There's so many penalties on kickoffs. And that aside, it happened, I think, in the Bills game. I think in the Bills-Vikings game. Teams will get the ball. No, it happened. It was because it was a good kick this time in the Bills game. That's what I was going to say. Teams will take it out for no reason. And teams will get it. They get it in the end zone. They could take the touchback. They could let it. I think you can let it bounce into the end zone and take the touchback. Don't do that. Instead, run it, get to the 20-yard line, potentially injure your players, potentially get a holding or blocking the back penalty, all to get 15 yards and be behind where you would have started normally, and burn time off the clock. The Bills kick, the kick, I think it was the Vikings kicker kicking it to the Bills. And that was a pretty good kick because it pinned it, it was on the 5-yard line or something. So that's different. That was just a good kick. It forced them to take it out and good special teams play. But generally, kickoffs, people take them out too often. I think, yes, you have the potential to get up to the 40, but you also burn time. And you also risk so many penalties that I feel like the receiving team gets more of on kickoffs. And it just that's pretty much it. The biggest thing for me is when I see a team take it out when they have the chance to not take it out and then get less than 25 yards. And then you've burned time, worse field position. The players are more tired. Any player who was involved in the kickoff. Yeah.
Injuries. So would you suggest the answer would be to get rid of the kickoff? Or I know the big point of frustration is that they take it out when they really shouldn't because they're given the 25.
Yeah.
But so would you just say let's give them the 25, no more kicking off?
I don't know. I think keep the kickoff because if a team wants it, I guess more what I think is I don't know, be more select. If you have an amazing kick returner, I feel like a lot of what I've seen with Duvernay, I don't know if he returns kickoffs or just punts or whatever, but I know Duvernay on the Ravens returns pretty well. I think Cordell Patterson on the Falcons. If you have a good kickoff return guy, then I think that I like it from a strategy standpoint. I think you're saying all I think is teams should just be more, more select, be more willing to take take it if it's if you have if you take it, there should be a reason. There should be a reason okay, we want this, we want to take it out. We want to take this kick out. We have a really good runner. We have maybe a unique blocking scheme. Maybe, you're a special teams coach, you've drawn up a unique return scheme. I don't know. I don't know, but I think I like the idea of having it there for strategy. I could see the interesting depth maybe. I like that. I think if players are good at it, let them shine. But I think if you're an average Joe team with an average Joe kickoff returner, why? Why take the risk? There's the potential big reward, but I'm sure if you do the averages, I don't think it's that good. That's all. I don't have like a league position. I just have like a teams, like teams should just think about it more. It should be a team by team decision. But yeah.
Hey, fair enough. Didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
I know. It's interesting. That's why I picked this one.
I'm going to take the lob here. And I am going to say up front, I don't know if there's a solution for this, but I'm just going to say that one of the biggest pet peeves is inconsistent reffing. Okay, not
yes.
bad reffing.
That was what I
inconsistent reffing, because like the problem is that a lot of these calls are subjective, and people are going to make mistakes. You watch it on the field, you watch it in life every day. People are going to make mistakes, but when you're calling, if for one half the game you're calling holding, and in the other half you're letting them play. One half the game you're calling PI super tight, and then by the end of the game you're just letting them play. Why? Just call it how it is. Like, if we're gonna call PI super tight, let's just do that across the game, across the league. Or if we're gonna say we're gonna play a little bit loose, that's fine. People are gonna say they have problems with roughing the passer or whatever it is. Like, all these rules, all the rules have a reason. They're in place for a reason. The problem is when, Tom Brady gets all the calls on roughing the passer and Josh Allen doesn't, or Lamar doesn't, right? Because they're running QBs, right? That's the problem, is the inconsistency. And I mean, to a certain extent, it's like, it makes it hard to watch the game. How often do we say to ourselves, what even is the rule? Because it's not consistent. We don't even know. We can't even tell what a catch is. Oh, well, if you're going out of bounds, you've got to maintain possession.
Or a touchback.
The ball can touch the ground on a catch as long as you maintain control of the ball. Well, does that mean that the ball can't move? I mean, can you have control while the ball moves, while it touches the ground? Like, it's just gotten out of hand. Let's make the rules consistent so that hey, if this happens, then it's a penalty or it's not. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said when I wrote down my picks, I just said refs in general, and I was gonna narrow that, maybe narrow it, but I think that's a great way to talk about it, or a great way to nail down to something specific. I have my last one here, and this is when a team trades their first round pick and then sucks. Right, so teams that have done this, the Eagles right now have the fourth. They right now, if they do the draft right now, they have the 4th overall pick in the draft and the 32nd, because they are undefeated. But they have the 4th overall pick in the draft because the Saints traded their first round pick to pick a receiver. Yes, receivers look good, but traded their first overall pick to pick a receiver and then sucked. And they sucked enough to give the Eagles the 4th pick in the draft. The Seahawks have the 7th pick in the draft because Denver traded the house for Russell Wilson and then sucked. And it's just giving. It's like, if you're going to go all in, if you're going to do the Rams approach, the thing about the Rams approach is you trade all these picks, but then the pick isn't worth as much because it's the 32nd pick in the draft because you win the Super Bowl. Because the part of the philosophy of trading your picks to win games is so that you win games, right? Like, they do it, you trade them, and that's what makes it a good deal for you. Obviously, because you win, but also because like, your pick isn't worth as much. The better you do, the better the deal is for you, because then the pick is worth less and less.
Positive.
So to go out and make these, So to go out and make these big blockbuster trades only to then suck. It not only, like, it's both, yes, like, the solution has not improved in the short term, but it's also not going to help in the long term either. Because you've lost your first round pick, you've lost the one of the best ways to rebuild, and that's just
the problem with that one. Like you said, there is no hedging going on there. They are basically saying either we succeed or we fail big, right? That's it's you're all in at the poker table. Yeah,
and those are the Eagles. The Saints and the Denver are the two big ones. You could say it with the Browns too, but they knew that that's the whole Brown situation. But you knew Watson wouldn't be playing for most. You kind of knew your pick this year wouldn't be great. It wouldn't be bad. You knew it would be like an average pick probably, which it probably will be. I mean, we'll see. So it's kind of different for them. But even still, it's like it's got to feel bad when you trade a pick. And now if I open up my pick order really quick, it'll take me half a second. they have the 9th pick in the draft. Right now, the Texans have the 1st and the 9th pick in the draft. So obviously that'll change. They probably won't end with the 9th pick. But still, like, that's a high draft pick. It's a high draft pick. But yeah.
I'm going to go with a little bit something specific and out there for my last one. One of my biggest pet peeves is analytics being a scapegoat for bad coaching decision making. Okay. So right now there seems to be there's like two factions in NFL coaching and in the media where it's like, hey, like we've brought in some young guys where we've hired some, Ivy League economists and stats guys to be consultants, to answer some of our statistics and probability questions, to do some sabermetrics, some Moneyball type analysis and regressions. That's going to help us win games, and we're going to make decisions with that. And then you got the faction who's like, I don't even know how to add. Okay, and I ain't bringing in some young gun hot shot who doesn't know anything about football and is all numbers, because that ain't football. All right, so we ain't doing analytics. Okay, you got Jim Irsay complaining about analytics at the press conference, saying people get scared, they go to analytics. What? These coaches,
right.
They go up to the podium after they make a bad decision in a game, and they say, "What? Well, the analytics said that if we went for it here on 4th and got it, then we had a 98% chance." Listen, it's just a tool. It's just a tool. The models, the regressions, they can't build everything into them. That doesn't mean that they're not good and that they shouldn't be used, but they're just another tool that these coaches should be using. But when they go up to the press conference and they lose, they shouldn't say, "Oh, well, it was the analytics." It will say, "Well, we looked at some of the analytics. I thought about it in the moment. We put that all together, and I made the wrong call." That's all it needs to be said, because it comes down to all these head coaching things. They're all just decision making, and some guys are better at it than others. Yeah. And to blame analytics, whoever's blaming analytics, whether it be this as the scapegoat or to say this is wrong, come on, guys.
Which is why you should have a head coach who isn't afraid. Which is why you should have a head coach who isn't afraid, who's been in these high pressure moments, not some white collar, some white collar dude coming out there. Got to be in those high pressure moments, calling the plays himself sometimes, calling out stuff himself.
Once again, Raiders ownership, please. You heard it here. You can have both. You can have analytics as a tool, and Jack will be we don't want any analytics. We can have it all. We just hire us.
And we're not afraid. We're not afraid to tank for Stroud or a Young. We're not afraid to be tank commanders.
You want to be a tank?
We're not afraid,
Jack.
I want. That's my dream job.
Okay, so we're gonna get into our picks for Week 11. We've got to start where we've got Eagles Watch. Now, literally live as we're recording, we're on Eagles Watch. Eagles are currently up 14-7 in quarter 2. Not sure how this is going to actually work out, but we'll be watching this after we're done recording here. But Eagles play the Colts next week at 1 p.m. I'm having a hard time. I don't think that they have the spreads out for this because the Eagles haven't finished this week yet. So, But basically, you've got Jeff Saturday versus the Eagles, who are right now undefeated. They maybe not after tonight, but Eagles Watch. We basically don't talk about it unless we think they're going to lose. So I'm just going to count to 1, 2, 3, and we'll both say yes or no. And if either of us say yes, we think they're going to lose, then we'll talk about it. Otherwise, we'll just keep going. All right, ready, Jack? 1, 2, 3. No. You want to say yes? I
want to say yes.
It'd be a great story.
I could see potentially. Yeah, I'm all about the story. Like, if we knew the results of this week, I'd be able to more confidently say yes or no. It's that thing. What if tonight? What if they barely win tonight. I mean, for obviously it's a moot point if they lose tonight, but but if they win convincingly, that it's the different things have different meanings.
100% agree. But
I want to say yes for the narrative, but I can't because I'm not dumb. We've already talked too much.
We said no.
So, yeah. I know. We already talked too much on it. I just wanted to say that I wanted to. This is the first time I've wanted to. Where I've wanted to say yes, and I think that's newsworthy. But
fair enough. All right, so we got the Vikings versus the Cowboys, and at 425, the spread looks like the Vikings are 1.5 point dogs. So the Cowboys are favorites here after losing to Green Bay. I mean, take the Vikings and the points here. I am back to definitely. No faith in the Cowboys after everything going on. Maybe it's like
I would take them to win as well, but I mean, when it's a 1.5 point spread, it's pretty much the same thing. But still, yeah.
No, 100%. Like I think that Vegas is thinking bounce back game for the Cowboys and maybe drop off after this big win for the Vikings. Could be, but man, I mean, I don't know. It seems like a big game and that type of thing. I mean, Cowboys and Kirk Cousins, they kind of clash there on big games. Who's going to mess it up? But I'm going to take Kirko Chainz.
This game, and it is at 4:25. Important to note, it's an afternoon game. It is not a primetime game for those at home. Not a primetime game, which is crucial when Kirk Cousins is your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the other game?
We got Chiefs versus Chargers on Sunday Night Football.
Oh, yeah.
Chargers are 7-point dogs. Who do you got here?
I remember that game seemed close last time. I would have to look to see if Chargers are getting players back. I'm assuming they aren't, so I'm going to take Chiefs even with the points. I would have taken Chiefs to win anyway, but I would have probably, like, if I could look up right now and see, they got a whole bunch of people coming back. Then I'd say differently. I'm now blanking. Like if Keenan Allen and Bosa were both coming back, then maybe that's enough to put me over the edge, say Chargers with the points, but I'm not because I don't know that. I'd have to go check that. So I'm going to take Chiefs to win and cover.
Yeah. There you go. I'm going to take Chiefs to win and cover as well. Pretty straightforward here. Chargers, don't believe in them. They got worse players. They got sick players. They got hurt players. So, yeah. All right, so that was picks. We're going to wrap up the episode here with a stats question.
Question.
Jack, I'm going to go first. I think I have a 2-point stats question here for you, and I think it's pretty. I think you might get both points here. It's not a super hard question. So, sort of in the spirit of the Vikings' big win, I went back in my mind and said, when was the last really big Vikings win? And I had to tell myself I had to go back to the famous Minneapolis Miracle. Okay, I'm not going to tell you when it happened because that's part of the question. But Minneapolis Miracle in the divisional round of the playoffs, basically they're down 5, I think, or something, and there's no time left. They're on their own 39-yard line, 61-yard bomb to Stephon Diggs, who was on the Vikings at that point.
Yeah,
Saints defender completely whiff the tackle, and he walks into the end zone for a walk-off touchdown win in the divisional round. This is against the Saints. Now, first part of the question, who threw that pass to Stephon Diggs?
Oh, this is unfortunate. Or not, like I don't know exactly, but I think I saw like the jokes about it or something. Is it? Right, because when did Kirk go? Is it Case Keenum?
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
That is correct. It was.
I saw a lot of people
Keenum.
They didn't reference that specifically, but people saying, "Oh, could this be a Case Keenum, Stephon Diggs, reunion game?" I saw people saying stuff like that. But yeah.
So yeah, you got Case Keenum to Stephon Diggs there. Now that was in the divisional round. Vikings would go on to lose in the NFC Championship. To who? This is why I didn't tell you the year because I didn't want you to know.
Oh, I gotta think this.
Who would possibly have gone to the Super Bowl?
What did you say they lost in the divisional or in the championship?
In the championship.
Or how does it? In the championship.
So they won in the divisional and then they lost the championship.
So here I'm gonna talk at my thinking.
Yeah.
Now I remember because you gave a hint, and the hint was that they beat the Saints.
Mhm.
That was the hint. And for me, I took that as a hint because that meant I believe this happened after the famous no call. And the no call happened in the 2018 season. And I remember that because that was our freshman year of college. So, and I remember watching it happen on the TVs in the dining hall. So that was 2018 season, which makes me think this is the 2019 season. So I have to think. 21 was Rams, 22 was Bucks. So 23 must have been they lost to the 49ers. 49ers won?
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
That is incorrect. You're very close, but you're off. You went the wrong direction in the year. It was
I went the wrong way. It was before.
2017. It was a year
I see.
before. Yeah.
So is that the Eagles? Like obviously this doesn't count, but that was the Eagles then?
That was the Eagles. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Very good though with the Saints. I thought you had it as soon as you were like the Saints versus the Rams, and I was like,
I forgot which direction.
Hey, that was good though. Very good. So we're gonna give you half a point there. So you're closing the gap here.
There you go. Oh, that's all important. My question. It will not have half points, but for whatever I'm gonna ask it two ways. Here we go. You know, I'm gonna start asking it, and it'll become clear when I get to the end. You know, the vibe of the question, and I'll we can talk. So this question was inspired by this post that I saw on Reddit of a tweet. If the Broncos had scored exactly 18 points in regulation of every game, they would be 8-1. If they scored 18 points, they would be each game. That would be 8-1. So that gets to my question. There are two possible questions. One of them is going to be much easier. The other one's a bit of a shot in the dark. When I look at the teams of points per game, right? Teams who are averaging some number of points, like 18, for example. Basically, how many teams are averaging less than 18 points a game? One kind of would be for reference, the Broncos are.
Right.
The Broncos are, obviously, because that's the kind of part of the question. An alternative question could be, what team is averaging just better? Like what's the team that's just averaging enough to, if they had the Broncos defense, be 8-1? I would say, I feel like that's probably harder because then you have to pick one of 32 teams rather than say a number. And I would say, if I'm going to pick random numbers, if there were 15 teams averaging under 18 points, we could give a one or two, I'm not sure what's fair, a one or two,
right,
size margin there.
Right.
Safety. You think 1 point, 2 point? I'll let you pick. It's your question. I don't know how hard this is. It's hard for me to have a frame of reference.
So I'm confused about what I'm supposed to answer. How many questions?
How many teams? If you want to take a shot in the dark and say the team that scores the minimum points, the worst offense possible, that would be 8-1 with the Broncos defense. That's one option. Realistically,
basically that's averaging 18. Who's just averaging
basically
over 18
who's
points.
just barely averaging over 18. The other option is how many teams, including the Broncos. Broncos are one of them. How many teams average under 18 points? Or we could say 18 or under. It actually doesn't matter. No team's averaging exactly 18.
Right. Okay, so I'm just trying to think of really bad offenses or so I know the Cowboys haven't scored a lot. The last couple of weeks they've been scoring more, but they were probably under that for a while. I feel like the Packers haven't been scoring,
and this is offensive. I believe this will be offensive and defensive points. I believe this is a combination.
Total points. Yeah, total points.
Yeah, total points.
I think that I'm just gonna take. I'm gonna say the number, and I'm gonna say there's probably with the Broncos maybe 6 teams averaging under 18 points a game. I'm gonna say 6 teams.
Let me count this. Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
That is exactly correct.
No way.
Correct. It is exactly. It is the Broncos, the Steelers, the Colts, the Rams, the Texans, and the Commies, the Commanders. The first and the Commanders at the highest among them, averaging 17.7. The Bucks are the team just over that, averaging 18.3.
Okay, so
yeah,
really,
you
you're telling me I was dead on.
You were dead. There were 6, including the Broncos, 6 teams.
Man, am I good or what? I mean, that was just by feel. That was just by feel.
Fun note is that the Broncos have the number 32 offense and the number 1 defense, scoring wise.
Yeah, I saw that statistic. That is just you hate to see that. But all right, well, that was a good stats question all around. That was a good podcast episode. If you made it this far into our audio podcast or our video podcast, make sure that you follow us on whatever you're watching. If you're on YouTube, drop a like. Maybe if you want, you could comment, see what you thought of our takes, if you liked them, if you didn't. Also, make sure that you subscribe. That's going to be big for us as we're moving forward, producing more content. And yeah, if you want to just see some of our shorter form stuff, we're posting that on YouTube as well. So, just check that out. Definitely, if you want to see more from 710 Sports with Jack and Jared, you got to subscribe or follow us wherever you're consuming this podcast. So, definitely, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, because, you listen to me and Jack
over an hour,
So, so thanks for sticking around and watching. Jack, you got anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, other than Commanders-Eagles game right now, 10-14 at this point. It's about halfway through the second quarter. 10-14.
Hey, hopefully we got a barn burner. We'll have to see about that. But Eagles watch. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode 19 of 710 Sports with
Jack
and Jared. We will catch you next week after week 11. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us. See you then.
See ya.